Nearly 3 years after driving an Uber around Kalamazoo, Michigan, and randomly shooting and killing 6 people, Jason Dalton was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Join us as we delve into the details of this chilling incident. This is the terrifying case of Jason Dalton. Let's begin, shall we? What happened? Dalton pleaded guilty to killing 6 people and wounding 2 others in a series of random shootings around the southern Michigan city over 5 hours on February 20th, 2016. In between the shootings, he picked up and dropped off passengers as an Uber driver. The shootings occurred on a Saturday evening in 3 different parts of Kalamazoo. He first shot Tiana Carruthers in front of her children. 4 hours later, he killed Richard Smith and his son Tyler Smith at a car dealership. He then opened fire in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel restaurant, killing Barbara Hawthorne, Mary Lou Nye, Mary Jo Nye, and Dorothy Brown, and wounding a teenage girl. These were very deliberate killings. This wasn't hurried in any way, shape, or form, prosecutor Jeffrey Getting said at the time. They were intentional, deliberate, and I don't want to say casually done. Coldly done is what I want to say. The shootings put a heightened focus on Uber and its protocol for approving drivers, who are considered independent contractors and not employees. A CNN investigation last year found that ride-sharing companies Uber and Lyft have approved thousands of people who should have been disqualified because of criminal records, according to state agencies and lawsuits. Dalton passed a background check and had no criminal record. For all intents and purposes, he was your average Joe, Kalamazoo Public Safety Chief Jeff Hadley said at the time. This was random. At the sentencing hearing, family members of the victims gave statements as Dalton sat quietly in an orange prison outfit. Michigan does not have the death penalty, and state law mandates that first-degree murder be punished with life in prison without the possibility of parole. Emily Lemmer spoke about the difficulty of living without her father and brother, particularly during her recent wedding. Every day since I woke up to half my family being gone has been a living nightmare, Lemmer said through tears. Nothing feels right, and every day is a constant painful struggle. The same cycle of waking up to the chilling reality that half my family is gone. Carruthers, who survived being shot, pleaded with Dalton to look at her during her victim impact statement. A defense attorney objected, but the judge informed the court that Dalton's participation in the victim impact statements, or lack thereof, would be noted. Dalton's disengaged presence contrasted with a court hearing months after the shooting when he interrupted Carruthers with rambling statements. He later attempted to stand up in court, and court officers restrained him and dragged him out of the courtroom. Jason Dalton halted jury selection in his trial with surprise guilty pleas to 6 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 8 counts of felony use of a firearm, according to prosecutors. He now faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dalton's attorney, who had previously said he wouldn't pursue an insanity defense for his client, said Dalton was pleading guilty against his advice to shield his family and victims' families from the emotional toll of a trial, NBC affiliate Wood reported. Jury selection began last week and was due to end Monday. Moving on, allow me to talk about the people affected by this terrible incident. The victims, Tiana Carruthers. Carruthers was Dalton's first victim in the shooting. The young mother was returning home from the park with her daughter and other children when Dalton began shooting outside her condo complex. Carruthers told the children to run away while she shielded them away from the gunfire. WWMT-TV reported that Carruthers, who was shot several times, has been through multiple surgeries, treatments, and rehab over the past several years. Since the shooting, Carruthers has become a motivational speaker, creating her own business, Shiro with a Message. Richard and Tyler Smith. Richard Smith was looking at cars with his son Tyler and his son's girlfriend at a Kia dealership when Dalton came up and started shooting. Tyler's girlfriend, Alexis Cornish, stated during the preliminary exam in 2016 that she ducked down in the back seat of the Smiths' Range Rover when the shooting unfolded. When Dalton left, Cornish got out of the car, reached for Tyler's phone, and called 911. The Smiths died from their injuries. Richard worked as a pipe fitter for over 30 years, spending most of his career at Pfizer, reported MLive. In the last 4 years before the shooting, he worked as a construction manager for Jacobs Field Services North America. Richard married his wife, Lori Smith, in 1992, and they had 2 children together, Emily and Tyler. Tyler was only 17 when he died, while Richard was 53. Mary Lou and Mary Jo Nye Mary Lou and her sister-in-law, Mary Jo, were shot and killed at Dalton's last stop, a Cracker Barrel restaurant. The 62-year-old worked as a daycare worker at Emmanuel Lutheran Church's daycare center in Bridgman for 5 years before the shooting, reported MLive. She previously worked in various positions for the Michigan Secretary of State for 30 years, retiring as assistant manager of the Benton Harbor location. In 1975, she married Christopher Nye. According to MLive, Mary Jo was a retired teacher at Calhoun Community High School, an alternative school in Battle Creek. Accomplishments in Mary Jo's early career included creating an adult literacy program in Southwest Michigan and becoming president of the Literacy Council of Calhoun County. She was 60 when she died. Dorothy Judy Brown was with the Nye sisters when she was shot. According to MLive, the 74-year-old worked for Guardian Finance and Advocacy in Battle Creek, and previously as a caseworker for the Area Agency on Aging. While in college, Brown married Edwin Reynolds, but later remarried to Curtis Brown. She had 2 children, Jeff and Rob Reynolds. Barbara Hawthorne was also at the Cracker Barrel with Brown and the Nye sisters when the shooting unfolded. According to CBS News, Hawthorne had retired after working for Kellogg Company in Battle Creek for 22 years. The 68-year-old was the grandmother to one of the survivors, Abigail Kopf. Abigail Kopf, besides Carruthers, Kopf is the other survivor of the shootings. The 14-year-old was shot in the head while with Hawthorne, Brown, and the Nye sisters at Cracker Barrel. She has been through several surgeries, including 2 where metal was placed in a part of the brain that was shattered by a bullet, reported Wood TV. Moving on, other details. A man who was one of Jason Dalton's last Uber customers before he murdered 6 people during a shooting spree in 2016 is suing the rideshare company. In the federal lawsuit, Matt Mellon claims he used Uber's emergency hotline to have Dalton deactivated, but couldn't get through. Since that time, he claims he lives daily with post-traumatic stress disorder and survivor's guilt related to the incident. Mellon said he called an Uber around 4:30 p.m. on February 20th, 2016. When the vehicle arrived, Dalton was driving, he said. After getting in, Mellon's lawsuit described the ride as terrifying, with Dalton running red lights, hitting other cars, and not letting him out. When he was able to escape, the lawsuit claims Mellon tried to contact Uber's 24/7 response team for more than an hour to get Dalton deactivated, to no avail. News Channel 3 reached out to both attorneys listed on his lawsuit, but neither returned calls. Mellon himself could not be reached through publicly listed contact information. In 2016, just a couple of days after the incident, Mellon described the situation to News Channel 3. "We were driving through medians, driving through the lawn, speeding along, and when we came to a stop, I jumped out the car and ran away," he said at the time. "He wouldn't stop. He just kind of kept looking at me like, 'Don't you want to get to your friend's house?' And I'm like, 'I want to get there alive.'" The lawsuit claims if Uber followed the community standards and code of conduct on its website by immediately deactivating Dalton, it might have helped prevent the tragedy. A spokesperson for Uber said the company doesn't comment on specific litigation, but added the company has rolled out a direct phone line for riders to call in urgent safety situations. At the time of the incident in 2016, Uber's chief security officer said, "We are horrified and heartbroken at the senseless violence in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Our hearts and prayers are with the families of the victims of this devastating crime and those recovering from injuries. We have reached out to police to help with their investigation in any way we can." Mellon was seeking at least $25,000 in the lawsuit. Communications attached to the lawsuit between Mellon's attorney and Uber show as of March 2020, he was seeking about $1.25 million. In 2023, Mellon's lawsuit against Uber, Razor, a technology subsidiary of Uber, was heard in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Michigan. Uber and Razor have since reached a settlement with Mellon, and the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice on March 10th, according to court documents. And that's it for this video. Please click the like and subscribe buttons down below if you found this interesting. To make sure you don't miss any uploads, tap the bell icon. Share the video with all your friends. Provide all of your feedback in the comments section. See you in the next one.